Every day, a large number of components come into our country from outside the EU, and they meet the deadlines of just-in-time systems, as do the EU components. My honourable friend for Wimbledon should understand that you can't send the car out with only 79% of the components assembled, because they're the ones that came from the EU. They send the car out with 100% of the components, and the non-EU ones that come in perfectly well. More than half our trade is done with non-EU countries, with countries who are neither part of the single market or the customs union. We have thought about the need to get rid of frictions on the borders for non-EU trade already, and have worked internationally through the World Trade Organization, who, through their facilitation of trade agreement, have a number of instructions to us and to the EU to make sure there's a minimum of friction at the border for the non-EU, non-customs union trade as well, which is why our manufacturers can work with it. The EU trade is not without administration and bureaucracy. There's the Intrastat declaration that has to be made, there's the commodity code that has to be identified, there's the VAT that has to be settled, there's the excise that has to be settled if necessary, and those things are all done not at the border, not by the lorry driver standing in a queue having to work it out. And when we are outside the EU's customs union, so it will be for everything else coming in, not within the customs union framework. It is the modern world. It's electronic. There are computers. There is off-site settlement of taxes. There is off-site settlement of customs. The WTO knows about this. It will be a great future for us, but we must have that freedom to have our own international trade policy, our own agreements with countries other than the EU, and our ability to settle our own laws and spend our own money. The British public would expect no less of this Parliament, and they will not accept higgling of their decision to leave the EU.